Welcome to episode 89 of the Valley Sports Talk podcast. One away from 90. We are back after a bit of a um about a 2.5 week gap. We're back on the usual grind.
Hmm.
Hopefully, before we get started, something that happened yesterday, I got an email referred to Brandon, and we were named in the top 10 Ottawa Valley Sports podcasts. We came in at number seven. The criteria was based off creativity, your own content, and longevity. So yeah, that's kind of cool. We're honored obviously to be in that list. We're in there with like TSN, like Locked On Senators. So a couple big sports podcasts were in there, and then you have our little podcast in there. So
Well,
pretty
thanks
cool.
to
But
you
yeah,
guys listening.
yeah, for sure. But on today's episode, since we completely sort of missed the NFL playoffs, Super Bowl is done. Kansas City, unfortunately, has won again. Sorry if you're a Chiefs fan, but I severely did not want them to win. Um, Also went
Yeah.
0 for 6 on my bets, so yeah, I'm now broke thanks to the Super Bowl. No, I'm just kidding. I did go over
Super Bowl,
6 though. I did go over 6.
that's tough.
And then we are about a week. We're about
3 weeks?
3 weeks away from
3 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, just about 3 weeks away from the NHL trade deadline. So we'll go through the top 10, maybe 5 to 10 players on the TSN trade bait and where we think they'll go, or if we even think they'll go at all. But yeah, obviously Kansas City
Sounds good.
defeated San Fran in overtime of the I don't what's the was it 50s
58?
58? I was gonna say
I could
56.
be wrong.
Yeah. Initial thoughts, reactions. I know we watched it together and with a couple people here.
Honestly, the ending ended up being like obviously it's going to be a Super Bowl to remember, one of two to go to overtime, and we almost did see double overtime there, but um the first half was pretty boring. The defenses stood tall. We did have a couple turnovers, still didn't amount to anything. Almost went into halftime 0-0. Um, but yeah, it did end up being probably the most memorable Super Bowl I've watched in my life. Just because of how close it was. It was, I mean, the biggest gap was what, San Fran up by 10.
10,
Um,
10-0 at one point.
yeah, so it was never really, it was always pretty close. They were just going back and forth, and I mean, leave it up to McCole Hardman to show off at the end. I mean, they've run that play before the video has been going around, so nothing new. But I honestly, I kind of I thought they were going to stop him and get a field goal. I wanted to see double overtime, but it was a hard fought battle, and I think it's one to be remembered for sure.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't want the Chiefs to win. I can't really the whole Taylor Swift thing,
Hmm.
a home thing sort of just rubs me the wrong way if I'm being honest. But yeah, definitely like you said, very I didn't think it was gonna be a very good Super Bowl to start because I mean we were after the first quarter, we were 0-0 and no team had really stepped into the red zone. Second half, teams sort of picked it up and obviously going into overtime. Or even the last sort of 2 minutes, the Chiefs, could have marched down, but they got stopped, elected for a field goal with 6 seconds left, went into overtime. Yeah, interesting to see what the 49ers will do this offseason. They already fired their D coordinator after just one season, so that was a pretty short leash he was on. I don't know if I would really consider or blame the Chiefs defensive coordinator for the loss. I mean, I feel like he had them almost at 0 points going into half. So I don't really think I was kind of shocked by it considering how good their defense was all year, and then you're just sort of making this firing up based off one one game. I know it's the biggest game of the year, but still.
Yeah, no, true. It shocks me too, and I'm looking at the stats right now, and just to the Super Bowl, and like you said, it was just a close game. So to make a decision like that's kind of surprising. Like first downs was 24 Chiefs, 23 for San Fran. Um, like I mean, fumbles was like 1-1. There, it was just even the penalties was 6-6. Like every stat I'm looking at, even time of possession was separated by a minute and a half. Like this game was just so even the entire time. Um, to make a decision like that's kind of wild. Um, it, I mean, other than Travis Kelsey's like, is there anyone that kind of disappointed you? I know Travis Kelsey was kind of disappointing in the first half, then kind of lit it up in the second half. Is there somebody you wanted to see more of? I guess something before we should also bring up is the field goal kickers. They both set an NFL record in a Super Bowl for kicking length. Um, what's his name? I don't even know the San
Butker and
Francisco.
Moody.
Mooney, yeah, he broke a record, and then Butker like broke his record like the next possession or something like that,
Yeah.
57. So that's pretty crazy. So shout out to those guys. But is there anyone that kind of disappointed you or you would have liked to see more from?
Uh, I don't like Nick Bosa and Chase Young both had days on the sort of offensive line. They were eating up the tackles for the Chiefs. Someone that I wanted better from was it honestly was Brock Purdy. There's a lot of times where I feel like he made the wrong read or he could have or he just didn't make a good play. Not that I think he played bad. Like obviously he brought that Niners team to there. But I feel like I wanted a bit more from him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, obviously,
Especially after he missed. I know he had Chris Jones in his face on that one play, but he missed Ayuk wide open for a touchdown in overtime.
yeah, I think that's why it's so out there because right at the end of overtime, Brandon Ayuk was wide open and they showed the replay like three times. And then they had to settle for a field goal. And obviously if you're putting the game on Patrick Mahomes' hands, you're not gonna like the outcome very often if you're the opposing team. So that's pretty big. Um for a guy, yeah, it makes sense. Like for a guy who's normally just a high completion percentage guy, he was only 23 for 38.
Would have liked
And
a bit more.
yeah, sub 90 QBR. Um, where I mean Patrick Mahomes had basically an 100 QBR with an interception. So yeah, it would have been nice to see a little bit more out of him again. First Super Bowl, so but you can't even. I don't even think you can blame nerves because his first half he looked really good. Um, it was kind of the second half where Patty Mahomes took over and won that one for the Chiefs. But like if you thought you were gonna see any nerves from Purdy, maybe the overtime is when it started, but in the first half there was no nerves there whatsoever.
No, definitely. Early, I know right now the 49ers are the early favorites for the Super Bowl. I want you to give me your super early, almost stupid early Super Bowl winners for next year.
Yeah, I'm just trying to search up the odds right now because I did see them come out and they were some of them were kind of shocking to me, to be honest. Um, my early pick would be I'm gonna go I'm gonna go back to Joey B. We'll see how I feel
It's
going into
sneaky.
next season, but I feel like with a full season to come back from an injury, like the second half of the season and then a full off season. Um, I think he'll be good. They do have some like they have to sign T. Higgins. I don't know what they're gonna do with Tyler.
I don't think they sign him. I think
No,
he's
and Tyler Boyd. So I don't know what happens there. Maybe they actually use some of that money to finally get an O line. We'll see about that. But I'm gonna go Cincy.
Cincy. Okay, okay. I
Maybe
don't
Green
mind it.
Bay.
Yeah, good one. I was gonna say Atlanta.
Who do you think?
I like the Ravens. I think
Yeah, we're sticking in that division, aren't
I
we?
think Lamar is gonna be hungry, especially after being the one seed and losing to the Chiefs this year. I think Lamar is gonna be hungry and come back for vengeance.
If you had to guess, how many teams do you think have a higher like a lesser chance of winning the Super Bowl according to Vegas
Lesser
than the
chance
Atlanta
this year.
Falcons?
So like they're more favored or less favored.
More favored. Like the plus is higher.
32
Pardon?
out of 30, all 32 teams.
Yeah, how many people do you think have a like if you put $1 on it, your payout will be greater than Atlanta's?
16.
Three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 12.
Okay.
12. Vegas is not high on super on Falcon. They have the same percentage as the Colts. They're better than teams like the Saints, the Cardinals, the Bucks, the Seahawks, the Broncos.
Hey,
The
what's
worst team
what
by
is the
far is Carolina
Carolina?
at plus 2,500, where the next team is the Giants at plus 1,500. So, or
Wait,
15,000, sorry, and it's 25,000. So there's a big
okay.
difference.
Maybe I'll put a
Huge.
dollar. Maybe I'll put a dollar or $10 on Carolina winning.
I'll give you the top 10 and tell me if there's somewhere where you would kind of disagree here. So you got San Fran at 1, you got KC 2, Baltimore 3, Detroit 4, Buffalo 5, Dallas 6, Cincinnati 7, Philadelphia 8, Miami 9, and Houston and Green Bay are tied for 10.
Who's 11th?
Teams that are just out are the Rams, the Chargers, the Jets, the Jags, and the Vikings.
I like the Jags and the Chargers a bit more than I like the Packers. I will say that.
Fair.
I think Jim Harbaugh, or is it Jim Harbaugh that, or John? I
Yeah,
don't know. One of the Harbaughs,
yeah.
whatever one is brought in. I think he's gonna do some work some wonders with the Chargers. I know they are in cap space hell, but I do think they'll be able to figure it out. Um, and I think the Jags are gonna bounce back this year. I think they had a bit of an off year this year. I think they are gonna come back, and I think we see a bit of regression from Jordan Love, which isn't anything to worry about. I think it's just sort of his sophomore slump. Most quarterbacks do go through it.
I
Um,
definitely see that.
maybe switch the Bills and the Cowboys. The Bills didn't really give me much this year, other than right near the end of the season to put them ahead, and they still did the same thing they always do in the playoffs. Yeah, other than that, I don't really have much issues with it.
No, and again, I mean, it'll be nice to see what the Jets look like with Aaron Rodgers. We'll see
Hopefully,
how
he's
that turns
totally
out.
healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
What do you think of
oh,
Usher?
uh, start was a bit iffy, but he brought it back right after Lil Jon came out with Turn It Down for What, and then he started to play some of his bangers. But the start was a bit iffy. I don't know. I didn't know what to think about it. I know you had similar thoughts.
Yeah, I can't lie. Like, and it has nothing to do with Usher as a performer when I say this, but when he was alone, it was not good. And like I said, that's not Usher. It was his song choice, I think. I don't know. You kind of want to pop off with your very first song, and I don't feel like he did that. Um, you only get like what, 8, 9, 10 songs, so you kind of
Yeah,
want to
you're not even playing the songs fully out.
no, so you kind of want to play some bangers. And but as soon as the guests started coming in and he played some of his good music and some of their good music, um, I thought the second half was really good. I don't know. I was asked a ranking a couple days ago, and I gave it I gave it a 6.5 or a 7. I couldn't decide. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I'd give it I'd give it a 7. I know people were there was on Twitter, there were so many different reactions. There were people saying that was the worst of all time, and there was also people saying that was the best of all time. I'd probably put it right in the middle of it was mid.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I
Wasn't
wouldn't
bad.
give
It
it like
was
a 5, but yeah, I think I'd be in the 7-ish range probably. Wasn't terrible. The
I
ending
think that's still mid because
the ending
it would
ended
be
on top.
very hard to get a 0.
Yes, very hard. Anyways, jumping off the NFL, trade deadline is let's see
Three
if I can
weeks.
find the actual date. I think it's March 10th.
March 8th. I
8,
searched it up. March
March
8th.
8th. All right. We have the top 10 list. It's I don't even know. It's TSN's list as of yesterday. We'll go 10 to 1. There is a first round pick in there. I think I'll just skip that. So we'll actually do 9 players. Or I'll do the 11th player. Number 11, Jake Allen. UFA after this year making 3.85, 3.63 goals against with a 895 save percentage. So he's not looking too hot. Don't know what you get, but where do you see a fit and do you think he moves?
I I I it's tough to say if you think he'll move because you never know what teams are gonna do. I would like to see him move. Um, I think his stats are irrelevant personally, just because he's a starting goaltender, where if you trade for him, he's not going to be your starter. Because if he's getting traded, he's going to a contender and he's not going to be the starter. So his numbers are irrelevant to me because he's a starter on a bad team, where if you trade for him, he's going to be a backup on a good team. So I don't think his numbers really matter too much. I do think he has some value. Um, some teams I'm looking at, especially with the Hockey Canada situation that's going on. I won't speak too much on it, but a team like Philly could be looking for a backup goalie right now. Um, I think Philly could be a good match there. Another team that's I don't know. I feel like a lot of the teams in the West have their goalie situations figured out, to be honest. Um, Maybe if Edmonton wants a backup like that, to back up Skinner. I do think he gets traded, and I do think he gets traded to a contender. What his value is,
Not very much.
that's left to be seen. I don't think it'll be too much, maybe a mid-round draft pick.
I'm thinking
Uh,
fifth rounder.
yeah. And if that's the price, if you're Philly or you're a team that needs a backup veteran goalie who's played playoff games before, I don't think that's a bad price to
Yeah,
pay.
so the teams that came, I never didn't think of Philly to be honest. Just because I don't think they're as good as they are.
I
I'm
don't
still
either, but I mean, they're
still
still
waiting. I'm still waiting for their fall. I don't know if it'll come or when it'll come, but I'm still waiting for it. Teams that came to mind immediately for me are New Jersey, and the Hurricanes, two teams that one is in the playoffs and one is fighting for a wild card, if not playoff spot, in the Devils. They both sort of have like goalie issues. Vitek Vanacek ain't cutting it. Nico Dawes, the Devils' backup, is not cutting it. Bringing someone like this, Jake Allen, like you said, he's a veteran. He's 33 years old. They will have to attach a contract to it because I don't think either of those teams will have enough to take Jake Allen's 3.85 mil. But if coming back Montreal, if you can even got up, maybe you can get up to a third round pick if you're convincing a team like that to give you sort of a bad contract to take Jake Allen, or to take the contract. You can probably get a third round pick, Jake Allen,
I
or a third round
also
pick with that bad contract for Jake Allen.
yeah, I also think if you're Montreal, you could probably get
And I
like the trade value could probably go up a full round draft pick if you retain 50% of that salary.
yep,
And
for sure.
I don't see why they wouldn't be interested in
I also like this trade for Montreal, getting rid of it, and I think you got to give Samuel Montembeault full range of that net to see if he could be your goalie going
yeah,
into
for
the
sure.
future. He's 25, so he's ready. Number the 10th player, Jacob Chikrin. I feel like he's been in trade bait for every single year he's been in the league.
Yeah, he's always in trade baits.
He
Um,
has 1 year left. He's not a free agent after this year. He's got 1 year left at 4.6.
if honestly, I this confuses me why he's up there so high. He's 25. He has another year under his contract. Everybody thought Ottawa was going to be contending for a playoff spot this year. Um, so if I'm Ottawa, I don't trade him. I go into next year with him being a UFA, um, and try and be the team that people thought they were going to be this year. And if that's the case, um, then there you go. You can work on a extension or do that in an off season. Or if you're bad again like this year, then you trade him next trade deadline. I don't think this year makes sense for Ottawa in any sense personally.
Yeah, I actually completely agree. That's the exact same thing I would have said. I think you hold on to him. You are kind of disappointed this year, but you're going to have a very similar team to next year. So maybe just this year just wasn't your year. So the fact that he does have 1 more year, exactly what you said. You hold on to him. If all of a sudden you become a playoff team, you look to extend them because they'll only be 26, going into a contract year. Um, and like you said, if he's not, you sell him, and I think he's a good enough player. You could probably get a pretty decent package for him. So yeah. Moving on to number nine. His teammate, Vladimir Tarasenko, 1 year or UFA making 5 mil.
See, this one makes sense because he's a lot older. He's going into his last year. He's probably not going to go back. Um, I mean, I guess time will tell. But again, a guy like Vladimir Tarasenko, he's only gonna like it. Only really the only people calling are gonna be contenders, um, or people fighting for that last spot. A kind of sneaky one that I feel like could work is a team like Nashville or Calgary who are just on the outside looking in but don't have a lot of goal scoring because that's kind of what Vladimir Tarasenko brings. Um, Obviously, it hasn't been working out
He
in
does have a
Ottawa, but
decent sized cap at 5 mil, so you got to take that sort of into effect too.
true. Yeah, I do think again. Edmonton might be willing to take on some of that for the last year. But
Edmonton, you mean Ottawa?
Ottawa, sorry, I don't know why I said Edmonton. I was just looking at them in the standings. But yeah, I feel like a contender um, that is kind of lacking some scoring would be nice. Like maybe the Islanders look at this. I don't know. I feel like it's got to be some team that's in the hunt that isn't scoring as much as they would hope to. Even like a team like Carolina, that might be a prime spot too.
Yeah, some teams that come to mind. I like the idea of him going back to the Rangers. Get some depth scoring. He wouldn't play, so I think he'd be a middle six winger on that team with the emergence of um Lafreniere finally starting to play some decent hockey, and I think there's a chance that they've been linked to trade him. I think that if Ottawa can get Capo Caco in like a sixth, fifth rounder, I think that's some good value. Obviously Caco was a second overall pick, so I think sort of a change of scenery might help his game. I don't think he's going to get to that second overall pick level. Um, but I think that that would be a good middle six forward for Ottawa to sort of build around with the core they have there. That's just something that came to mind. I don't know if the salaries would work. I don't know if maybe Ottawa eats a bit, they can get maybe a higher pick. But that's sort of one that made sense to me.
Yeah, none of our trade ideas could be smart because we're not looking at cap space. We're just looking at best fit.
We're literally just looking at best fit. Number eight. Actually, I'll go eight and seven because they're both from the same team. Both from a team that are currently in a playoff spot. We have Scott Lawton from Philly. He's got 2 years left after this, making 3 mil. And then Sean Walker, defenseman, making 2.65, expiring contract.
Yeah, personally for me, um, I don't know. I don't mind Scott Lawton on Philly. But I do think they trade him just because I know they are a playoff team, but um, he's a negative on this team, like plus minus wise. He's not putting up very many points. Um, just looking at his stats and stuff, it's just not. It just doesn't seem to be working out this year. Um, he has been a Philadelphia Flyer his whole career, so maybe that has a little bit to do with it. But to maybe him staying, but I do think he might get traded. I feel like he would be a good third liner, third line center. Maybe they push him to the wing if they already have one. Um, for a team, I don't feel like this has to go to a playoff spot. I feel like he would be a good role for a contender that might be trying to make the jump. Um, a team like Washington comes to mind. Um,
Division.
In division, yeah, I know. But I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Maybe a team like Minnesota, who's on the outside looking in, a Seattle, something like that.
Yeah, teams that come to mind, I like the Avalanche in this situation with him. I think he could be a good depth player. And that being said, he has 2 years left and he's only making 3 mil. So obviously with the team that Colorado has, he would be a good depth piece to have for the next 2 years, because they are going to want to contend. Sean Walker's a weird one because he's in for a payday. He has had a good year. 5 goals, 19 points. He's only 29. Um, so he's a bit of a weird one. I want to say he doesn't get traded, and I think the Flyers try to work out an extension. This one's kind of an interesting one. I don't know much about him. He's I don't know. It's weird. I think Philly retains him. And I think if Philly's I don't think Philly's gonna make two big moves, especially if they stay in a playoff spot. I think if someone's gonna get traded, it's gonna be one or the other. I don't think both of them move.
No, I agree. He's like you said, he's got 19 points this year. His career high is 24, so he's on pace to definitely have a career year. He's never been in plus minus wise. He's never been a positive in his career, and this year he's a +8, logging a lot of minutes for this Philadelphia Flyers team that a lot of people thought weren't going to be great, and they're in a playoff spot. So, a cheap contract. I know he's a UFA, but at the current moment, cheap contract. I feel like that's a piece worth holding on to for sure.
Yeah. Next player, Adam Henrique, making 5.825, so decently sized cap hit. UFA after this year. I think that the Anaheim will, if they make a trade, they will be retaining up to 50% most likely. I'll jump first because you've been doing first. The
Mhm.
first two teams that come to mind, Rangers and Bruins, both teams well competing. Adam Henrique, veteran, he's been there with the Devils before. He's been in the Stanley Cup final before. Just a great depth player, great leader. And I think both these teams can afford it. If they retain and again, just like the Tarasenko thing, I think the Capo Caco thing, going back to the Ducks, makes sense as he's getting a new change of scenery and the Ducks are rebuilding with all the young pieces they sort of have there.
Yeah, I like the teams you said. I feel like this is a player that you definitely want if you're like cemented in the playoffs, like some of the teams you mentioned, they're kind of locks already for a playoff spot. Um like you said, he has lots of playoff experience. It's a veteran. Basically his cap hit's probably going to be half of the 5.8, so you're basically like a just under 3 mil to the cap. Um I don't think there's any negatives here if you have this guy sitting on your third line with all that experience and leadership. Definitely want that guy if you're in a playoff run.
Yeah. This next one hurts my heart a little bit, but it's Jake Gensel, Pittsburgh Penguins. He's making 6 mil. Obviously UFA after this year, he's gonna most likely get paid. You can
Yeah,
go.
I'll go quick and so you can have your moment with him. I don't know if you agree or disagree with this. You're obviously tuned in a lot more than I am, but I would be shocked if he goes. Even though they're not in a playoff spot, they're right there. And I just feel like when you got Crosby and you got Malkin, and you got Letang, you're going to be competing, and even if you're not, he's in for a payday, like you said, and he once they leave, he will be the face of this franchise. So I feel like that has a lot of pull.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Pittsburgh's too far out of it that they sell this deadline. They do have games in hand, but like games in hand is only so much if you don't win. But that being said, I don't think he gets moved unless the deal is like too good not to pass up. Um, like you said, I don't. If the thing is, Pittsburgh offered him like a 6x8, and he apparently reports have been that he declined it. I don't know how much he really is looking at the future with this team. Obviously, they're in store for a complete rebuild. So if he does get a new deal with Pittsburgh, I don't see it. I could see them sort of maybe giving him close to 10, maybe 10 and a half even. I don't think he's worth that, but for over 4 years, they have the cap space to do it this offseason. But going back to it, I don't think Pittsburgh's far enough out where they trade him.
Yeah, I agree. He's just too good.
Yeah.
He's too good.
Next three we can honestly package together as they're all from the same team. We have Noah Hannafin, Chris Tanev, and Jacob Markstrom, all of the Calgary Flames. Hannafin and Tanev are both unrestricted free agents at the end of this year. Um, Hannafin is making 4.95 and Tanev is making 4.5. Markstrom has 2 years left until his UFA, and he is making 6 mil.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a world where like all three of these guys get traded. The only thing is like for a GM to make three big moves in one day would be kind of difficult. So I feel like if all three are going to be gone, at least one will have to be gone before the trade deadline. Um, the one lock I feel like um is Chris Tanev. I feel like I can't see a world where he stays unless before the trade deadline they go on an extreme heater. And I mean, I know they're only 3 points out, but if like it hasn't gone well for him this year, and past years. And I mean, if you're a wild card team, you got to face a team like Dallas, Colorado, Vancouver, Vegas in the first round. So unless they have an insane push here to get up to the trade deadline, I 100% think Chris Tanev's gone. I know I'm a Leafs fan, so I might not hold much ground, but I think Chris Tanev would be a huge fit in Toronto. Toronto's dying for a right-handed defenseman that can keep a puck out of a net, and that's exactly what Chris Tanev is. So I feel like Toronto might be a good fit. But either way, I do think Chris Tanev goes. I think the least likely to go would be Noah Hannafin personally. I don't know what you think. I don't know. I feel like the goalie just needs a change of scenery Markstrom does. He's such a good goalie. His stats are pretty good for a team that's not even in a playoff spot.
Yeah, I actually completely agree with what you said about Tanev. At least we're the team that I think picks him up if anybody does pick him, and it makes a little bit of sense considering that Brad Tree Living is the new GM. Go
Yeah,
back and get Tanev. I actually think Jacob Markstrom is the least likely to move. I think that the cap and his age, and the remaining years is not. I don't think that it's likely. I think the Flames might want to trade him. I think the Flames won't get a good enough package based off how many years he has left, how good he
that's a
was
good
last.
point. That's a good point.
That's just sort of what makes sense. I don't I don't think Hannafin gets moved easily either, based off the fact that they are only 3 points out, and he's probably their best D next to Mackenzie Weegar.
Yeah,
So,
he's young. He's not young, but he's not old. Like
hey,
he,
he's a good player too.
yeah,
So yeah, we have 7 minutes left on our timer. I think we might jump into the NHL ladder where we guess players, and you got to get 4 players right in the category, so guys, category to win. So I don't know if you have a category yet.
I do have a category.
Do? Oh geez. Um.
Of course I do.
Okay, I have one. I got one.
Yeah, you lead us off.
Okay, can I have Sidney Crosby?
You can have Sidney Crosby. That's a great
Nice.
start. Um, can I have Austin Matthews?
Yeah, you can have Austin Matthews.
Okay.
Can I have Alex Ovechkin?
You could not have Alex Ovechkin. Can I have Alex Ovechkin?
Yeah, you can have Ovechkin.
I think I'm on it already.
Oh, I think I gave you too easy of a category.
You might have.
Okay, I got Crosby. Can I have can I have Chris Kunitz?
You could not have Chris Kunitz. I'm sorry. Can I have uh can I have Wayne Gretzky?
Yeah, you can have Wayne Gretzky. Oh my God. Oh, I'm in trouble. Um, can I have Nathan McKinnon?
You could not have Nathan McKinnon. Um, see my th okay. Can I have
I okay, you guess, but the more I think about it, the more you might not be able to have Wayne Gretzky.
damn, okay, because
I'm gonna I'm not gonna give
I was on Rocket Winners.
it's not that. I'm not gonna give you Gretzky the more I think about it.
Okay, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right.
So you have
Uh,
you have you have Ovi and Matthews.
okay. Can I have um Brad Marchand?
Yeah, you can.
I'm so lost.
Um,
So lost.
can um I have Nikita Kucherov?
You cannot have Nikita Kucherov.
I have no idea.
No, I know. I gave you a hard one. I must apologize. Um, can I have Matthew Kachuk?
Oh
Oh, I
no,
might.
you can't.
Okay, okay.
That might be a hot one. I'll tell you might be able to tell me if I'm wrong after that
I
one.
think your list might be like top 10 NHL players or something like that. I don't know.
Why would Ovi be there?
That's what's confusing me. I don't
Can
know.
I have can I have Steven Stamkos?
I might have given you one too hard. I'll expand. I'll expand. I'll expand and give you Alex Ovechkin if I expand. It gives you Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah,
That's
so
my
you
hint.
have two, or do you have three?
That's
I
my
have
hint.
two.
So you have Crosby and
One more.
Ovechkin. That's my hint. If I expand my category, you get Ovechkin.
Oh,
Um, can I get Patrick Kane?
yeah. Do you know what mine is?
Um, got no idea. It's got to do with I got Marchand. I got oh, this is I think I do have it, and that might be a very hot take if I do have it. The best player on their current team.
No.
No, okay.
It was future Hall of Famers.
Okay, Matthew
So
Kachuk.
that's yeah, I know that was my hot take.
Okay, okay, okay.
That's why I took back Gretzky because I was doing future Hall of Famers
Yeah,
and
yeah,
in the
yeah.
Hall of Fame. What's
Okay,
mine?
fair
I
enough.
honestly have no clue.
So my first one was a bottom two team in any division, and then I
Okay.
put it to
Uh,
bottom three, which is why I
Okay.
gave you Ovechkin.
Okay. We can do another one.
You were naming good people on good teams.
Yeah, I was. Let's do another one quick.
Okay, sounds good.
I got one.
I got one.
Can I have Sidney Crosby?
You could not have Sidney Crosby. Can I have Barzell?
You can't have Barzell. Can I have Brock Besser?
You cannot. Can I have Nathan McKinnon?
You can't. Um, can I have Noah Hannafin?
You can have Noah Hannafin.
Okay.
Can I have Stuart Skinner?
Nope, you can't.
Okay.
Can I have can I have Vladimir Tarasenko?
You can have Vladimir
Okay.
Tarasenko.
Okay. Yeah, I have an idea.
You don't though. Um, can I have Pasternak?
Nope,
Jeez.
can't. Can I have can I have Adam Henrique?
Adam Henrique, you cannot have Adam Henrique.
Okay.
It's not to do with trade bait.
No, I was thinking UFAs.
Can I have uh Drew Doughty?
Nope.
Jeez.
Can I have Hannafin and who's my other one?
Tarasenko.
Can I have Pavel Buchnevich?
You cannot. Can I have Sebastian Aho?
You can.
Okay,
Can I have Sebastian Aho?
you can. Can I have can I have Capo Caco?
No.
Okay.
Um, can I have Mika Zibanejad?
You cannot. Can I have um Alex Ovechkin?
Yeah, you can.
Here we go.
Can I have Tom Wilson?
You can.
Okay, you want to
Who's your
know that
yeah.
I have absolutely no clue what your category is.
No, mine's tough. It's all over the place. I don't have no idea what yours is. I have OB. That's it. What was yours?
You have Ovi and Aho.
Oh shoot. Is it foreign born?
No, it was teams that wear a red jersey, like a primary red
No, it
jersey.
was not.
Yeah.
That was mine.
What?
Yeah.
Red jersey?
Yeah, all you the players you guessed have red jerseys.
Hannafin? Then why did Tom? You said no to Tom Will. Oh, you said yes to
I
Tom
said
Will.
yes to Tom Wilson, Hannafin, Tarasenko, and who was the other one you had? I don't know. I don't remember. It was red jersey.
That's funny.
That's crazy. As if.
It's a great way to end it off.
I
If
guess
you
so.
guys enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and we'll be hopefully back next week with you guys.
See ya.